January the 4th, 2022. Guys, I hope everyone is bundled up and ready for the storm. You guys up in Minneapolis, you've been catching it all day. I've seen videos coming in of wrecks on the highways. Looks like you got 6 or 7 inches of snow, maybe more than that. Snow machines out, snow piles out, excuse me. And that's what's moving. That's going to dip down into the southeast, guys, and then move back up to the northeast. Texas, and this is high wind warnings in this area. And in the purple, you have winter weather advisories. In this pink, you have winter storm warnings, okay? Here in the kind of aqua green, you've got the winter storm watches. But here, right there, western North Carolina, northwest South Carolina, my friends, keep an eye on this, because you have the pink, which is a winter storm warning, but this dark purple right there is ice storm warnings. That's dangerous. That's what we saw last year from Texas over into Alabama and maybe further than that. I know we were covered in ice. I had to chip it away on our deck with a shovel, maybe 3 or 4 inches deep. But guys, you knock power out. That's the main thing you have to be concerned with now. And I noticed a lot of people in the video last night responded to the heater, the Mr. Buddy heater that you can get at Walmart or Home Depot in the $75 to $79 range. Guys, it's one of the few portable propane heaters. Like you see a lot of them that sit on the top of a 5-gallon propane bottle. Those are for outdoor use. But the Mr. Buddy heater, it's 9,000 BTUs and it will keep you alive. Is indoor. So I emphasized it last night. I'm mentioning it again just because at 9,000 BTUs, it may keep you alive. If you lose power, you don't have, some cities, you can't have a wood burner or fireplace because of the emissions and things like that. But you can, one of these would do it. So right now, Minneapolis, all in through that area, guys, down here into, you're looking at eastern Missouri. This is central Iowa. Here in southern Minnesota. Here into South Dakota. You know, this is winter storm warnings. But this ice storm warning here worries me more than anything else, simply because it's going to devastate the power in your area, your electricity. I hope you're ready. You guys are mountain people down in this area. You are south of the Mason-Dixon and you know how to survive. Let's look at some of the other colors here, because I talked about how strong this storm is going to be offshore. And in this particular color here, that's right there, it's kind of a, I guess you'd call it a wine or maroon, whatever it is. Those are hurricane force wind warnings. Look at the very top right there. See that hurricane force wind warnings. And in the video last night, I talked about Cat 1 or hurricane force winds offshore, and that's what you're seeing here. Then you notice at the very top of this, you're going back into this winter weather warnings. All of this other sections here, even into the Gulf of Mexico. You wouldn't want to be in a small boat. You probably wouldn't want to be in anything but a big boat, because gale warnings. You've got storm warnings offshore. You got hurricane force wind warnings. You got flood advisories right here. Check this out. Right there. Here. And that's going to be because the high tide's coming in. And right now, guys, you got, except for Minnesota and some of the other areas that are already experiencing this, up on the East Coast, you've got a little bit of time. But here from Atlantic City, check this out. Here up into just south of Newark, coastal flood advisories. Here in Georgetown down to, is that Salisbury, coastal flood advisories. And when you got hurricane force winds, just think of it as a very cold, freezing hurricane. Okay? You're going to have beach erosion. You're going to have light and poles down, trees down, flooded streets, flooded subways. Just not it. This is the weekend of all weekends for this year, for this winter, to stay home, have extra food, stay warm, bundle up, and be prepared. There's nothing is going to be good about this storm at all. Also, a couple of updates other than these since the last video. Now, this is switching from the National Weather Service to AccuWeather, and it was published this morning, 11:24, but it has been updated this afternoon at 5:45 p.m. Central Time, which was about 8 minutes ago. Snowstorm to march through the interior northeast, dumping up to 18 inches. Guys, that shuts everything down. Everything. You need to, if you can't do it this afternoon because it's already too late, and I know a lot of you are prepping, but first thing in the morning, if you're in the northeast, you get out there and you wrap up your preps. And guys, I realize for the last couple of days I've been harping on this storm, but this is going to be one for the record books, and there's going to be people that lose their lives, and there's going to be people that get in a lot of trouble. It says a winter storm that AccuWeather forecasters say will impact 100 million people in the U.S. is set to bear down on the Northeast during the latter part of the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday weekend. The storm will strike the Appalachians in a fast and furious nature, leaving many areas buried under more than a foot of immobilizing snow. Even for the major cities along the I-95 corridor of the Northeast, a quick dose of snow followed by heavy rain and strong winds could pose travel problems. We're gearing up for a very active weekend, says the senior meteorologist at AccuWeather, Michelle Rotella. Winter storm watches were issued across several states in the east on Friday ahead of the storm, and that's what we just looked at the National Weather Service. This is happening now. It says after dumping heavy snow on parts of the plains in the Midwest, the storm system will take aim at the Tennessee Valley in the southeast with snow and a dangerous ice storm. Then the storm will make an unusual U-curve turn and race eastward up the Atlantic seaboard Sunday evening into Monday. Notice some of the key words here. It's going to make an unusual U-turn and race northward. It's going to happen very fast. You've got hurricane winds offshore. It said with the heaviest snow expected to come down quickly along the spine of the Appalachians. Along the I-95 corridor, where the center of the storm is likely to track, warm air is forecast to be drawn in from the Atlantic Ocean. Not only that, guys, as this thing is making that U-turn, it's pulling a tremendous amount of moisture off the Gulf of Mexico. And as that begins to happen, watch for severe storms along that front line. Now, tonight here in central Mississippi, it's supposed to be about 48. It will be one of the warmer nights that we've seen in a week, and that's because of that influx of warm Gulf air. So be aware of that. But the winds, and we'll look at that wind speed map, are going to be very brisk here, even below the weather line as far as not temperatures, but as far as ice and snow. The winds will be significant, and it's something to think about because we could lose power even here this close to the Gulf of Mexico. Now again, this warm air is forecast to be drawn in from the Atlantic, and it will cause rain to fall during most of the storm. But even the major cities of Washington, which tomorrow goes into don't leave your home without a ID and passport, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston have the potential to be hit with a brief dose of snow or wintry mix on Sunday night. The wintry precipitation can rapidly cover roads and make for slippery travel on the onset of the storm before any accumulation is washed away by rain in these places as the night progresses. It's going to depend on the temperature. Now, from that stretch on the I-95 corridor, which moves up the East Coast, to the beaches, several hours of heavy rain and strong winds could trigger urban flooding and sporadic power outages. on the Barrier Islands and along the shores of some of the back bays. Minor to moderate coastal flooding is likely due to the storm's easterly winds and the astronomical effects on the approaching full moon on Monday. Your tides. Gusts will frequently reach 40 to 60 miles per hour along the coast, with the potential for the AccuWeather local storm mac gusts near 80 miles per hour on some of the islands and capes from the mid-Atlantic to New England. Some thunderstorms may even rumble along the coast. Why? Cold air and warm air. Further inland, the northern and western suburbs of the I-95 cities will lie within a battle zone between warm and cold air associated with a storm. Heavy snow will transition to sleet, freezing rain, and rain in areas north and west of D.C. to New York City, Boston, according to Chief of On-Air Meteorologist Bernie Rayno. Now, this is why I keep emphasizing, just plan to be home. Don't be part of the problem where people have to get out, leave their families to come try to find you, and both of you end up getting in a bad situation. It says travel over the zone from 25 miles to 75 miles northwest of the I-95 from northern Virginia and central Maryland to Massachusetts and New Hampshire will be a mess. Roads could turn from snow-covered to slushy and icy in some areas. And when that ice freezes, you're going to have problems. You're going to end up in a wreck. You're going to end up trying to go out and get some food because you didn't do it, or something else when you need to. This is when everyone needs to start paying attention. It's not just the weather that we have to be aware of, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's time for everyone to wake up to what's going on around us, weather included. Things are changing. It says motorists in southeastern Pennsylvania, northwestern New Jersey, the lower Hudson Valley of New York State, and central New England could all face the sloppy to dangerous travel conditions. Now, notice on this map, you've got major winter storms Sunday through morning, widespread travel disruption, strong winds along the coast, rapid freeze up to follow. There's where it gets hairy. Now, the pink is snow, ice, and rain. This is from down into northern Mississippi, across northern Alabama, Atlanta, through the Carolinas, D.C., and look at the ice all along the coast, guys. Blue is mostly snow. And this is another concern of mine. This is a new map. And what you're seeing where, this is Saturday night, tomorrow night. You've got ice coming through southern Arkansas, up through the northern sections of Mississippi, Alabama, the Carolinas, Georgia, Carolinas, and up into Nashville. But below that, here in the greens, with this low pressure setting right there, guys, gusty thunderstorms and rain. We could see tornadoes. They're not talking about tornado warnings yet, but with this type of change, you watch for it tomorrow. Be prepared. And another reason for me saying that is the update on this map, and this is gusty winds, and this is just through Saturday as the storm dips down to us. In the darker purple, you could have 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gust. That can take down power lines. The lighter purple, which is Louisiana, Mississippi, you can see it, 30 to 40 mile per hour gust. Now, it was fairly warm today here in central Mississippi, got up to around 61, got a lot of outside work done. It's going to drop down to about 48 south of Jackson, Mississippi tonight. It's only going to get up into the 50s tomorrow, but it's going to be raining and very windy and cold through this weekend. This is the time to stay home and be safe, but make sure that if you got anything that's going to blow around in your yard or things like that, take care of that now. Notice how far these peak wind gusts dive all the way into actually into Mexico, all along the Gulf Coast there. But Texas, you're definitely involved in this. Some of the winds could peak out, if you notice in this diagram, at 65 miles per hour. Just a good time to be home and be safe and be with your family. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.